And so you get like a little more power. You don't have to do the whole upper echelon thing. It's a whole grassroots thing. It's a YouTube type thing, isn't it? And Vidler and Blip.tv, say my other my other sites, where the popularity thing is very fluid. The power thing is very fluid. It's given and it's taken, and all sorts of things like that. And you can furthermore do this to several layers. So you can say the top person is me, and the second person is Bob Smith, and the third person is, Mr. X or whatever, and then you float around. Okay, well, I'm just Mrs. Anderson, she lives in my town, and she's pretty good, so I'm going to put her at number 2, or maybe I could put, like, my wife at number 2, and she could, then Mrs. Anderson goes down to number 3, and, okay, and there's one thing I don't know if I explained, this whole list thing, okay, so what does each position on the list mean? The position means the person on the top of the list, if they cast a vote, it negates that vote if anybody else lower on the list was going to use it. So, and this is also important. Not only can I take so I give my vote. Let's say there's 2 people. There's me on the top, was always me, and number 2 is Bob Smith, right? And I give my vote to Bob Smith, and if he does something I don't like, not only can I take my vote away from him, and he can no longer cast votes in my name until such time as I give that vote back, but I can also unvote any of his votes that I feel like unvoting, particularly if we're using fluid voting, which is, why I brought it up earlier. So he passes some horrible bill I don't like. I can say, A, you don't have my power anymore. I'm taking my vote away. You're off my list. And B, even if I don't take him off the list, I can say, I cast my vote no on that bill, even though Bob Smith voted yes in my favor. And so we're on this list thing. If I'm number 1, he's number 2. If the number 2 guy says yes, but the number 1 guy says no, that being me, then the no is what holds. That's what the list means, right? So you could have a whole list of you. You could have me, and then like maybe my wife, and or Mrs. Anderson, or Bob Smith, and or Mr. X, or whatever. And so like Bob Smith votes yes on a thing, but Mrs. Anderson says, no, that sounds like a bad idea. I just think I'll vote no on that thing, and she's higher on my list, so suddenly my vote goes from yes to no. And then maybe I think that Bob Smith is right in this case, and so I said, no, wait, I'll change it back to yes, and I'm the higher priority. And again, I can never be bumped out of my own priority. No one else has the power to change this list but me. Though theoretically, you might do a thing where a person is allowed to add things on the list, but only below themselves. But I think that could be a little messy, particularly when, like, I say, this guy's going to be number 4, and the number 3 guy says, no, wait, number 4 guy is number 8 guy all of a sudden. I said, no, screw you, number 3 guy. You're number 4 guy. That could get really complicated. But it's really cool. And you know what? Bob Smith, who's apparently a very popular guy, I keep mentioning him, could split his own votes. You imagine that? Like to say, and remember that everyone's being judged in the number of proxy votes they have. As it is, when 2 members of the Senate vote, they both have 1 vote, despite the fact that one of them may be from California, the one may be from Wyoming, and they're representing different amounts of people. Here, it's very, very direct. If you're representing more people, you get more people for you. And it's not just a weird thing like we give the California guy more votes. We give the California guy more votes only if people specifically choose him. This is also, I presume it would be non-geographic. There's no particular reason why my guy should have to live here. I mean, that would make sense. People by and large are going to vote for the guy that lives near them because he figured that he knows what they're talking about. But you don't have to. We could all choose some other guy if we felt like it. I could choose someone halfway across the country if I felt like it. Right? So it becomes non-geographic. And furthermore, so our California man or whatever gets his votes because he's representing more people, but the representation of more people is not judged just by the fact that he comes from a populous area as so much that his popular support is actually populous. Aha! And so our Bob Smith also, right? He might say, I don't know, he's got this bill that he likes, he thinks overall it's a good bill, but he knows that, I don't know, maybe old people won't like this bill. Maybe it's a healthcare reform plan, and it saves a lot of money, and maybe we need to save a lot of money. So we're cutting some benefits, though. And cutting benefits to senior citizens, they're not going to like that. So he can actually split his own vote. He can actually say, okay, on behalf of this list of people, like he's got his whole list of people that he's got proxies for, right? And he's like, okay, on behalf of you know, this part of the list, I'll vote yes. And on behalf of this part of the list, I'll vote no. And on behalf of this other little part of the list, I'll vote neutral. You know, no vote at all. Which, you know, it's kind of a congressman working against himself there. I keep saying Congress. It's not really a Congress at this point, but whatever. It's a representative working against himself there, I guess. But he is accurately representing the people below him, you know? And he's actually encouraged to do that because every person that he's got to vote by proxy for can just undo what his vote is on any given thing, and can furthermore take their power away on any given thing. So if he, like, made all the seniors vote yes on this bill, all the seniors could be like, oh, well, I vote no on the bill, and they're number one on the list, so they override, and furthermore they kick out Bob Smith, and he has less power now. So it really drives towards whomever it is we really do trust. You know? That's quite nice. And heck, it also does well for reliability and such, because if, say, a really popular person with a lot of votes to himself gets, like, assassinated or something, oh no, that's okay, because by definition he's a proxy guy. All the other original people can still vote, you know, however they felt like voting, which maybe they want to because of the whole not having enough time problem we keep running into. But, you know, they might have someone else on spot 2, so, you know, you could have number 1 and a couple of guys, and then maybe, you know, number 4 on the list is this guy who was really popular but got assassinated. That's fine, we got 3 other people on this list now that you theoretically need to kill just to get that one vote off the map. So I think the system should be fairly self-governing that way, or self-replacing, self-replicating? No, not replicating. Fairly reliable, fairly interesting. And I give you a bit of vertigo, both of the fluid voting and fluid representation, at the beginning, but I think they're interesting ideas. I think that by and large, just kicking down these barriers, we didn't really need barriers. Yeah, there's probably going to be a few glitches here and there when you actually implement the system, the dithering thing I brought up, and the probable solution to that. I'll bring another one for fluid voting. It's possible that, you know, we could pass 2 bills that are entirely contradictory. Like, okay, that's actually already possible right now. One might argue that it's more possible if everyone's voting on these various different things. True, but actually the anti-dithering thing, where things kind of wait 30 days before they actually come into law, would bring that up. Like, this passes and this passes, like, oh, wait a minute, these two are, you know, different. And soon enough, they'd go back down below majority while everyone tries to figure out what the real bill ought to be. I think it could work. So get rid of the schedules, get rid of sort of these random barriers. I vote yes or no or neutral whenever I want to. And in anything at all when I have the power to vote, and the power to give my power to vote to others, and they can vote by proxy using me, is also fluid, given and taken, as quickly as I'd like. And I think we represent what the people want without having to do the full direct democracy, which nobody has time for. Though I do thank you for having time to watch this video. So thanks for watching. See you later.